Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Streggy, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Did you miss me? I guess not.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Streggy, and here I have another review for you. This time, it is from director Darren Lynn Bousman, who did the Genetic Opera, Repro, the Genetic Opera, as well as the Devil's Carnival and the Devil's Carnival Alleluia, which I haven't entirely gone back and reviewed two of those films, but I did review Repo the Genetic Opera, and this is a relatively recent film, and I've been sitting on this review for quite some time. And I wanted to get my thoughts out on it. So the film is set in the 1950s, and at first I thought it was supposed to be something dealing with an exorcism, but it's kind of not. Evidently a young woman who let's see, goes by the name of, I believe, Doris, played by Lindsay Sam. Her and her boo, or boyfriend at the time, actually, she goes by the name of Marion. That's she's played by Sabrina Karen. And what happens is she ends up going to this church called St. Agatha. And when she gets in there, she's not supposed to contact anyone. They take all of her belongings, and it's got all these strict-ass rules, and it's run by a Mother Superior, played by Carolyn Hennessy. Now, Carolyn Hennessy, in here, plays her part to a T. I mean, she goes all brimstone. I know she played in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and Legally Blonde 2. She is well played in Click. She played in Star Wars Episode 4 as Dameen Lith. And she played a feisty nun. But kind of the story goes, the St. Agatha's is a home to a group of young women who are very much under this thick rule of they can't go anywhere. I think many of the many of them that are there have at least had a child or are having a child, and there's kind of a black market baby thing going on in the whole process. And when Mary comes across the behind the scenes shit of the church and whatnot, the Mother Superior ends up taking her and her child and nailing her in a coffin, only to break her spirit into to making her think that she is in fact the spirit of Saint Agatha. So when all things when it comes down to showing the church off to the public for the strange townsfolk who evidently really want children in the whole process. Uh, she won't be entirely recognizable as the person she originally came there as. And there's some really turn your face away scenes in here. There's a moment where Mother Superior ends up literally cutting the tongue out of one of the um, girls, who just so happens to be a friend of Mary's, at least while she was here in this church. I believe that the boy who was in love with Mary was didn't believe that she had disappeared or anything like that. And I just liked how violent it's really got, and how for some reason I got a kick out of the Mother Superior character, Catherine, the nun, who was played by Courtney Halverson, a redhead. She was like the #1 kiss ass of Mother Superior, and she was quite mean and quite wanting to please the Mother Superior all the time. She would annoy the fuck out of me if she were around me. She eavesdropped at doors. I mean, the setting of this and the backstory of this is what sold me. I mean, this I mean, if this really happened, if this was based on a true story, which Darren Lynn Bousman, he was the director of Saw 2, 3, and 4. So he knows violence to a certain extent, and I really did like this film. It wasn't bad for its. I believe it had a low budget, but I believe it worked well. It was put out by Uncorked Entertainment, and it was filmed in Madison, Georgia. So some of the outside scenery was somewhat beautiful. Some of the sunrises and sunsets that happened in the film were kind of cool. So I think that the cinematography of the film was actually quite decent. But yeah, I really dug the film. Dug the cult of this church that seemed to relish in the black market baby process, and the townsfolk. How the fuck could you, pay for a baby that's not even yours, from this particular church? These were patrons of the church, and yeah, I mean, that was quite cruel. And to think that this Mother Superior thought that she was all holier than thou doing this for the Lord in her own craziness, that was intense. Um, so I enjoyed the characters and evolved. Some of them annoyed me, but it delivered, and I was impressed with this film. So, in any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Appreciate your time spent here on the page. Again, here it is, Saint Agatha, and um, again, a cast of Sabrina Karen, Carolyn Hennessy, Courtney Halverson, Lindsay Siam, Hannah Fairman, Trin Miller, Seth Michaels, Justin Miles, um, Jason Warner Smith, Sean Fletcher, Marsha Fee Berger, that's Sister Susan, uh, Marilyn Light, Candy Ratchor, um, Maximus Marat, and Marion Guyot as Mrs. Wright. So definitely check the film out if you can. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen this film. It definitely intrigued me after I learned who the director was of this film. Picked it up, loved it. And I recommend it for those of you who are. I mean, it wasn't exactly terrifying, but it was intense, and there were some things that were done within it that kind of made me turn my head a little bit. So, um, it wasn't that it was entirely gory or anything thing like that. So, if you're looking for a gore factor, it didn't have much of that, but it definitely had an atmosphere of, you know, hell and brimstone, old school kind of an atmosphere. The ones where they spoil the rod, spare the, where you don't spare the rod and spoil the child, where you actually use the rod. Whenever you saw teachers slap the hands, keep them still or whatnot, put rulers down their backs just to keep them straight. So, hopefully you enjoyed my description of this film. Like and subscribe to my page if you have not. Definitely check the film out. Let me know down in the comments what you thought, and enjoy the review. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?